Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Get ready to rock out this summer. Coheed and Cambria and Taking Back Sunday are coming to the Armory on August 20th with special guest boxing. Tickets are on sale now. Don't miss out. Get all the details and your tickets today at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Russo Radio. Michael Russo, The Athletic, theathletic.com. At Russo Hockey is where you follow him via the X Machine. Do so as 9 to noon does if you are so inclined. And welcome back to Trier Rink for a Vox in the Box before the Wild take on the Utah Hockey Club this evening on Faith and a Family Night. And more on that an hour from now with Ryan Carter, Bill Butters, and Jake Taylor joining us for Vox in the Box. But here comes Russo Radio. Let's begin here. 4-10-1, the Minnesota Wild versus Western Conference playoff teams. How does your learned mind read into that, and what do your trained eyes see? And good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, I was distracted. I was checking in for a flight.
Wow, a flight where?
I'm going, believe it or not, I'm flying to Atlanta tomorrow just for the day to go to Trampled by Turtles concert tomorrow night.
Oh, geez.
And then...
you say believe it or not, but that's actually very
believable. Yeah, I know, it's very believable. And then I'm flying...
Yeah.
So I
nice of you to care about the Calgary game.
Yeah. So I'm flying there tomorrow just for the game, and then I'm flying to Chicago on
When they
Saturday.
hired Joe Smith, did the breakdown with the editor-in-chief or whomever runs the New York Times, like, here's the deal. I'm just going to give him $25,000 of my pay so I can have flexibility to go where I want when I want?
Kinda. You know, he was just on paternity leave, so I'm making up for lost time. But yeah, then I'll fly to Chicago. So he's got the Calgary game. I get the second of the back-to-back, and then he is going on the rest of the 5-game trip. He's going all the Eastern Canada and Boston, and I'm prepping for some Four Nations stuff because I leave February 9th for 12 or 13 days for the Four Nations. So, so yeah. What was the question on the Wild?
Minnesota 3-2. Minnesota Wild 4-10-1 versus Western Conference playoff teams. Why? You have a learned mind, and you have trained eyes. What do your eyes see? What does your mind know?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to make a bunch of excuses for them until right now. I mean, part of it is, again, it's just like last year. Everything is always when you face teams, and they've all year long faced these teams without their top guys. But then they pull something out like the other day where they go to Colorado and have an impressive win. But
ice was tilted.
But it takes such a complete effort to beat these teams when you're without defensemen like Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin, a star like obviously Kaprizov. So I think that's a big reason. But look, I mean, this was their problem last year too, and I do think it was valid last year for the very same reasons. But until they start beating these teams on a regular basis, I think that there's always going to be skepticism about how good this team really is, and the reality is we won't know until they get into the playoffs. But what's concerning about it is just the way that the playoff format is set up in the NHL.
That they're going to end up facing
you
Dallas
have to face these
teams.
Yeah, Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg. These are the teams that you're going to have to face if you want to get to where you want to go. So at some point, the Wild 100% need to figure it out.
Okay, similar related wins and losses question here. Let's just focus this on XL Energy Center. This team has struggled in some ways beating teams regardless of who they are in their own building. We were kind of, I don't want to say marveled at, but we were impressed by the fact that they were able to weather that massive road streak on the front end of the season. Yeah. And they got out with a bunch of W's. Now they got twice as many losses in front of their favorite fans than they do on the road. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play poorly, you don't want to do it at home. And the Wild have had their biggest stinkers of the season all at home. I mean, 6-1 losses, 7-1 losses. And it's not good. I feel bad for the fans. I mean, they pay a pretty penny to come to these games, and they have been extremely mediocre at home. And even the games they won weren't, there have been very few just impressive wins. There have been exciting wins, overtime wins. But even in those overtime games, to get to overtime, it was pretty lousy. So they've got to figure it out. Tonight they get, obviously, two very important players back. They're playing a Utah team that I think, match up pretty well against. But, last year when they were in Phoenix, the last couple of years, for a while, Phoenix was always Arizona. Phoenix was always the Wild's, they just...
The elixir.
They
beat them like 21 in a row.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And
it certainly has changed. It certainly has changed. And this year, even the game in Utah got a little haywire, and the Wild wound up pulling it out with the last minute Rossi goal to force overtime, and then the Boldy shootout winner. This team could beat you off the rush. They've got an excellent power play with guys like Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley. So you got to stay out of the box tonight. And all Wild fans know that their penalty kill is still their biggest issue, even though they've had a couple of impressive games lately. So they've got to figure it out at home. It's just been, to me, unacceptable.
Heinze told us earlier, about an hour ago, Bus gets the net tonight.
Yeah.
Surprised you at all? I mean, Fleury, two consecutive, the Colorado performance, fantastic by everybody, but specifically him. I don't know. You know more about it than me, man, but gut feeling, I kind of thought they were going to ride Fleury into 3 in a row.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't think it's a controversial decision at all. I get why they're doing it. They probably want to get. I mean, Gus has given up 19 goals in his last 4 games.
Right.
And then
I
he
read
gets
that at the Athletic,
and just obviously he just hasn't been very good of late. The other reason why I was surprised is I thought his game in Utah really was, that the only reason why that game turned haywire was he wasn't very good that night. So, I just thought that coming off a big game with Flower, that maybe you come back with him, and then you play Gus against Calgary, where he's very, very good against the Flames, and then you come back with Flower in Chicago in the second of a back-to-back. But clearly they want to get Gus going again. They've got to get him going again, and here you have a couple home games. My guess is he starts both of them, and then Flower, depending on how tonight goes, and then Flower on Sunday in Chicago.
With Kaprizov and Spurgeon back, and I'm trying to track in my brain, just is there a sample for what we can expect from Kaprizov after he misses a few games in terms of what do I anticipate from seeing number 97 back in the lineup?
Well, I'm sure he's going to be rusty, but this is not like the Wild sometimes have a tendency to, practice a guy a day and put him in the lineup. I mean, Jake Middleton practiced 1 day after breaking his finger and missing a month and then being in the lineup. They do that all the time with Brodin. So
did he wear his shirt?
He did. But clearly with Kaprizov, they have had a specific timeline here that he had to skate to make sure he's fine.
And the coach had mentioned that too, where it was nice to get a couple of full practices in before you just truly unleash him.
And but it is strange because they didn't bring him on the road trip, so it's like he practices once last week, then takes 6 days off just to skate with Andy Ness, and then practices yesterday. But perhaps for him to skate as hard as he has the last 2 weeks will alleviate some of that rustiness that we could maybe expect tonight. But in terms of what I expect from Kaprizov, I think he's going to try to make up for lost time. I think he's going to be awesome tonight. This has been, this has been hard for this team to find ways to win without him. They were doing an incredible job winning 4 in a row at one point, and then they hit the little tailspin here lately. But I think a lot of that had to do with their makeshift blue line. I mean, their blue liners have done a really good job, making up for the losses of Spurgeon and Brodin and Faber and Middleton the last 2 months. But it's just unsustainable to have third pair guys play top pair minutes for an extended period, and it finally caught up to them. We saw, especially in Nashville, they couldn't exit their zone. Their blue liners were in above their head. Nashville's an aggressive team to begin with, and so for them to come back against Colorado, which we know is littered with superstars, especially on their top line, and play as well as they did that night, it was very impressive.
So what becomes of David Jiricek? I know he's 21 years of age. Okay, I knew who he was, hadn't watched him closely, watched the Avalanche game, the matinee Monday, very closely. Jiricek with that sweet move by the boards to set up the goal. I mean, clearly naturally gifted, clearly 21 years of age. Like what becomes of him now?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to go back to the minors until there's another spot. Probably the next spot that he would take would be another injury to one of their right shot D. But right now, the way that their blue line is set up, he was not going to play over, obviously, Spurgeon, Faber, or Bogosian. And even though I know a lot
Chisholm.
of... but again...
I'm wondering, why Chisholm, not him?
But because probably the left shot, right shot. I don't think you want to take a 21-year-old. Now, you could put Bogosian, I guess, on the left side, but I don't know. I mean, it just, to me, this makes the most sense. Look, he obviously had a good game and a half on this road trip, but in his own zone, there's still areas where he struggles, especially recognizing, forechecks, breakouts, things like that.
So Chisholm's better right now.
Well, I don't know about that. I just think that right now, to play a second pair on the left side, they don't want Bogosian doing it on his offside, and they certainly don't want Jiricek at 21 putting him on the wrong side. So this was the other thing is that this is a cap related move too. They just could not make it work. They were once they activated Kaprizov off LTIR. It's funny. So we got. You could tell that when John Hines was talking yesterday, he didn't know exactly what the Wild were going to have to do. And then I met with Hines on the afterwards, and I said, Jiricek's going down, and he's like, and I explained to him, like, when you do the salary cap math, they were going to be $820 over the cap.
Wow.
Well, just throwing Travis Dermott on waivers would not have gotten it done. You would have had to send Shore down too. Well, they need an extra forward for this road trip, so it had to be Jiricek yesterday.
Wow.
And so. And so they're going to save Dermott right now, and if they're healthy when Brodin comes back, I got to think Dermott's going to have to go on waivers. But this to me made the most sense. I think that John is really jacked about some of the really important things that he saw from Jiricek's game and some of the things that were the reason why the Wild traded for him. And now he also knows that they could actually identify for the coaches down in Iowa just areas, little areas, details in his game that must improve, and do it down there rather than up here. And at 21 years old, he's certainly not a finished product. I think it's going to be really important for him to probably take the Marco Rossi advice that he accepted 2 years ago, and wink, wink, Bill Guerin said, might be smart of you to spend the entire offseason in Minnesota, and he essentially did, working with Andy Ness and Matt Harder. And I just think if David Jiricek's willing to not go back or spend the majority of the summer here, I think you stick him with Matt Harder and their strength program, and get this guy more of an ability to fill into his body, and then you have Andy Ness work with him. I just think we're going to see such a better player in the come next training camp.
Quick question for my own perception, and then I do actually want to pivot to something else. I understand the buyout situation and such is maybe unique to the Wild in terms of what limitations that offers. Most teams in the NHL do encounter these cap situations, I assume. Most teams do spend to the cap, so the Wild we're not in our own universe when it comes to having to play the LTIR and the cap game and send down and send up, right? Right.
The only difference is that the Wild are 15. Their cap ceiling is 70.
A little bit less.
It is a lot less. Their cap ceiling is 72. Right? Like cap is 88 million, and they're 15 under, so really 73 million, where everybody else is at the cap, but they're actually spending 88, and that is the huge difference. And I know a lot of out of town fans think that we bring up the injury excuse too much, but again, this is a very different thing than what other teams are dealing with.
Okay,
you take Connor, like against the Edmonton last week, where the Wild got clobbered. You take Connor McDavid out of their lineup, and then you take Darnell Nurse, Evan Bouchard, and Matthias Ekholm out of their lineup, and what do you think the Oilers look like that night?
Jeez.
That's what the Wild were dealing with. The only difference is the Wild had those guys out of their lineup minus the $15 million worth of players.
Draisaitl, so on.
Yep. Actually, I definitely undersold it. The Wild's cap is 15. It's 14.7 plus about 800 in bonuses for Rossi. So they're 15 and a half under the cap. So this is something that luckily that we don't hopefully have to talk about much further. For the next 4 years, they do have $1.67 million that they're going to be on in dead money with Parisi and Suter, but the pain of it is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
well, you need a Trampled by Turtles concert to stop thinking about that minutia.
I agree with
that
you.
hurt my head.
You should have seen me trying to figure out yesterday at practice when it was very clear to me. Obviously, watching line rushes that Kaprizov and Spurgeon was coming back, I started doing the math in my head on how they can get under the cap, and I realized, I tweeted about 3 times. I was trying to prep the fans because you have Juracek coming off this great game, and then he's sent to the minors. Obviously, the Wild didn't want to do that,
right?
But you start doing the math, and you realize there's no other option.
That's too bad because he's better than Chisholm. Nordo?
Yeah. So speaking of getting clobbered, you mentioned the Edmonton game.
Hey, we got players.
When are we going to see?
And Rossi.
When are we going to see Johansson and Mr. Brodin again?
Yeah, I mean, they're at least you guys were here way earlier than me. I assume you didn't see either skating. So as of yesterday, they hadn't begun skating yet. So it's going to be a while still. That was the only other option, was to put Brodin on LTIR if they think that he's going to be out past February 1st, which right now it looks like he will be. But you don't want to be in LTIR. It is not. It's not free money. That's what I think a lot of fans yesterday were like, just LTIR him. Well, first of all, he wasn't going to play, so you don't want to. Juracek I'm talking about. So you don't LTI Brodin to keep Juracek as the 7th D. That's ludicrous. But when you're in LTIR, you don't accrue cap space. When you're out of LTIR and you're below the cap, you do in a daily cap world. And the Wild want to get back. They're hoping that before March 7th they could accrue some space again to make some sort of trade deadline deal. My gut says, if you do the math, that the Brock Nelson thing, it's going to have to be extremely creative to get that done right now with how they have just evaporated their cap space. So, but they'd like to add something.
You can't just drop the Brock Nelson thing because there is a story at The Athletic, theathletic.com. Is it a mailbag?
It was a mailbag.
Yeah, a mailbag that includes the Wild maybe sniffing around old Brock Nelson.
I mean, they've been sniffing around him for a long time, and they obviously, look, there's a lot of appreciation for Brock's game. It's the reason why USA Hockey and Bill Guerin and Chris Kelleher put him on the Four Nations team. They love his game, and I think that the Wild are signing him as a free agent this offseason. The question is, do they also try to trade for him at the deadline? One, there's no guarantee the Islanders even move him because Lou has a history of letting guys walk for nothing. But the other thing is you need cap space, and there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to want Brock, including like the Dallas Stars, and they have a boatload of cap space. Where the Wild now, because they've been in LTIR the last 5 weeks between Middleton to Lauko to Kaprizov, they've all that work they did at the beginning of the season to try to prepare for making a big, whether it's Nelson or somebody else, some sort of top 6 move at the deadline. The plans might have changed, unfortunately, but we'll see. They have a month to try to, play some cap gymnastics, and if they could stay out of LTIR, which is the hope, maybe they can at least make some sort of move. Because I think all Wild fans would agree that whether it's Ogren or just an addition from the outside, second line left wing would be an area where I think the Wild could improve. And Marcus Johansson, it just hasn't produced this year. And so I think, there's a lot to like about Marcus's game, but I think for the Wild to get better, maybe putting Marcus a little lower in the lineup wouldn't be a bad thing.
Russo Radio, Trio Rink, Box in the Box, Minnesota Wild assembling on the ice for the morning skate in advance of a 7 o'clock game against the Utah Hockey Club. Logan Cooley go crazy. And that one is on KFAN this evening. It's Russo Radio.
If I was writing in Eric from Chaska to the Russo mailbag, I would ask a really dumb and rude question. So earlier on, you're talking about, they have a +6 goal differential this season. Mm-hmm. They're winning games tightly.
Yeah.
They've been absolutely getting waxed in some losses, and that's more recently than not. So only 4 guys with double-digit goals at this stage of the season, and maybe Marcus Johansson is one of the answers. But are there areas where it's like, I need more production from this guy? I mean, we just maybe, Ryan Hartman is going to be who he is. Boldy, dry stretch, but now it looks like he's come on hot as of late. Zuki, where are we not getting what we need to from a team that has weathered a ton of injuries?
Yeah.
But in the same sense, need to get better and get more diverse in their scoring.
Well, there's no doubt Eriksson X numbers have been down this year. I think he's playing incredibly banged up. I mean, even yesterday, I was joking with him in the locker room, like, we're covering practice. This guy can't get out of his own way. All of a sudden, he just blows a tire right there in the top of the left circle and slams into the left corner glass, probably going about 25 miles an hour.
Not good.
Just like this. And anyway, so I think that's part of the reason why he just hasn't produced. Obviously, he's missed, 15 games this year.
Something like that.
And he's certainly not 100. But they get nothing from their third and fourth lines offensively. Right. Yet you look at their third line. And
that Trennan thing isn't working out thus far.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if you like, it depends what you want. Like if you look at Trennan's analytics, his defensive numbers, nobody scores when he's on the ice. Same thing with Foligno.
Like that.
Same thing with Foligno. So, would you rather a guy that's getting 15 goals, but he's on the ice for 35?
Right.
Or would you rather a guy that they, every time they throw that third line out there, they're not scoring? Now, right now, that third line is a little different. Make-up with Ogren there with Foligno and Goudreau, and Trenyan's going to be on the fourth line tonight. But they don't get much from those lines. Hartman's been much better lately, but he obviously had a real struggles the first couple months of the season offensively. I went through a stretch where he went like 21 games without a goal. So earlier in the season, they were the best defensive team in the NHL, them and Winnipeg. Nobody was scoring against them. They were getting exceptional goaltending. As they started to get strained with injuries, that definitely has changed here. And so, one reason, it's amazing they have a +6 goal differential with the amount of times they've lost by 4 or 5 or 6 goals at some points in the last couple months.
Okay, how about I lay this out? Another stupid Rube question for you, Mr. Russo, is if all things even strength remain the same, would my perception of that production be different simply if we were better on the power play and maybe a little bit better when we were shorthanded as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, thank goodness for them that they've been as disciplined as they are, because their penalty kill has been abysmal. But yet they've had some huge games this year. I mean, the game the other night against Colorado, I mean, that was obviously big. They've had some big games recently, but they always seem to give up one a game.
Yeah.
So that's been an issue. And their power play went through especially with the definitely different guys and personnel on there. They went through a month where they just weren't scoring. So even strength, for the most part, they've been pretty good this year, but their special teams needs to get better, and that's been their white whale in the playoffs. I mean, you remember that Dallas series. Even strength, they were pretty good.
Yep.
But, man, they were horrendous on the penalty kill in that series, and their power play wasn't good at all.
Should I be surprised at all, Kaprizov, and I know he's missed some games, obviously, that I believe it's both Boldy and Rossi have more power play tallies than Kaprizov. Can I ask Kirill, do I need more from him with the extra man?
He still makes that power play tick, but you're right. I mean, there are times where it feels like Zuki and Kirill like to just pass to each other and throw pucks out of the zone.
It looks
I think
fun.
Part of it is, Kirill's missed 13 games, so that's definitely part of it.
Plays in.
I've really been, it will be interesting to see how they do the personnel now with the power play, because you have Zuccarello, Boldy, Eriksson Ek, and Kaprizov back, so that's going to affect Rossi. Rossi's probably going down to the second unit now.
Hey, Winnipeg has lost 2 consecutive. Mm-hmm. Is there panic throughout Manitoba?
Well, they didn't love their game against Utah the other night. I saw Scott Arniel said it was horse bleep and embarrassing and all that stuff. So that's also what the Wild have to deal with tonight, is Utah's coming off a huge win against the Jets the other night. But I still think that they're going to be fine. They have incredible goaltending. I think that they'd like to add a blue liner at the deadline at some point. But you know what? Their top 4 has been really good this year. With Pionk has had an exceptional season. Dylan Sandberg, local Minnesotan as well, has had a great year as well. Josh Morrissey is one of the elite defensemen in the league. DeMello, since he's gone there, he's been really good. It's their third pair that probably could use some improvement. The biggest problem right now that Winnipeg is facing is Adam Lowry is out. It sounds like very long term right now. Losing Adam Lowry is like losing Joel Eriksson for that long. He's the heartbeat of that team. Obviously, their captain as well.
Lastly, from me, don't know if the con wants to pepper you with one more, but lastly from yours truly. Do you still watch sporting events at that swanky cigar bar while sipping cognac like a French king?
Yeah, I was there yesterday watching
of course you were.
A bunch of stuff. That before my podcast. So, yep. I'm there a lot.
Lastly,
Well, the only thing I was supposed to ask is one of the PR staff here was questioning. There was a photo of you and LaPanta, I believe, on social media.
right?
And he was curious what type of environment you guys were in. And
Was
if you
there a
had
horse
fun.
involved?
No, we did a live podcast yesterday at Elsie's for TalkNorth.com, our Worst Seats in the House podcast.
Yeah.
And they like to throw pictures on with the tweets of when they put out the pod, and all of a sudden LaPanta, who takes more selfies than a teenage girl, all of a sudden he just surprised me with like, let's take a selfie.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was ready for it. I certainly was not.
A lot of questions about the headwear.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. The toque, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll go to social media and look at it. Where is this thing at?
You can find it at
Yeah, I'm sure I retweeted it. LaPanta tweeted it out. You know.
All righty.
It's good though. Tonight's game's ESPN, so I get a day off from Anthony.
Hey, you no, I just saw him walk in.
Oh, great.
Yep, looking out of one eye.
Just take the day off, man. Why are you coming? You're not working.
I don't
Just
know.
take the day off.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I agree with you. Okay, all right, 3-2. So, hey, I couldn't remember exactly what happened. Bob Motzko, coach of the Gophers hockey team, was on the radio an hour and change ago, and I was talking about the first game Cooley and Faber met, and something at the end in Arizona. Did Cooley, shake on Faber and get a game-winning goal? Or something, of course, you probably were in Greece or Hawaii or Las Vegas or Atlanta following Trampled with Turtles.
You know what? That might have been a Joe Smith operation.
Yeah, it might have been.
Joe just walked in, too. I should ask him. I don't remember. But, man, by the way, Cooley is on fire right now.
The goals in 4 consecutive, including against Winnipeg. Everybody knows that from St. Paul to the Isle of Patmos.
Yeah.
It's where you'll probably be next.
Yeah, it's truly unreal. So Gary Bettman's at the Wild game tonight. I can't wait to talk to him because you hear about this, all the stuff now that they are having trademark issues trying to name the team the Yeti there. So I want to ask him.
Why is he at our game?
He does his normal rounds and he hasn't been to Minnesota in a while actually, probably 2 or 3 years.
Is there a kissing?
So
of
I
the
got a
ring
list.
ceremony
I got
that
a
takes place?
list of questions for him.
Yeah, is he going to be kissing your ring this evening?
No.
Or at the right hand of the Russo?
Yeah, he should sit with me.
All right. Well, safe travels.
All right.
Enjoy the game this evening.
Yeah, thanks.
And we will talk to you next week for sure. And the next time we're here,
see you, gentlemen. I'm on with Guerrero later today.
Excellent.
Too.
Good. We will be listening.
See you.
Michael Russo, Russo Radio at Russo Hockey via the X Machine. All the kids are out here for the morning skate. There's 97 with that big old smile. Oh. I can't find 17. I can't find Foligno.
I saw him. Yeah, he's out there. Yeah.
Well, see, I drew this. He's from Buffalo, and he's a big Bills fan. So I drew this stupid Go Bills thing in my notebook. Look right here.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to see it. But I gotta make eye contact with him, and I can't find him.
No, they're skating too fast.
No, they're skating fast.
That's
right
the problem.
now.
They're skating fast.
Yep, Khan's going to drive 90 minutes south, lay the 1.5. They're skating so fast.
Oh, there he is right there.
Where's the moose?
No, that's 97.
No,
I'm looking for 17.
Yeah, Foligno and Kaprizov, easy to mix
they
up.
look completely similar.
Yeah, Kaprizov is the one in the all-red sweater, which is basically don't breathe on me, touch me, or skate next to me. It's been a long time. But as John Hines, coach of the Wild...
Oh, he's right here. He's right here, black jersey.
Oh, there we go. Oh, the moose. As John Hines, coach of the Wild, shared earlier, Kirill Kaprizov and Jared Spurgeon will return this evening. You can hear it on KFAN at 7 o'clock with Joe and Tom. Kevin Fallon is by their side. And the bus is between the pipes this evening, despite Fleury starting the last 2. Now we're going to break from hockey for a second, and we're going to discuss Ben Johnson, coach of the Chicago Bears, and some things that developed over, let's say, the last 24 hours. And that will start the second half of 9 to noon from Vox in the Box territory. We're at Trier Rink in St. Paul for a Vox in the Box on KFAN.
And real quick before we go to break, the fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword credit at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword credit. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us for the Fire Aid benefit concert to help rebuild the communities devastated by the wildfires throughout Southern California on Thursday, January 30th at the Intuit Dome and Kia Forum in LA. Enjoy performances by Dave Matthews, Green Day, Jelly Roll, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stevie Nicks, and more. Listen to it on our free iHeartRadio app. To donate, visit fireaidla.org. That's fireaidla.org. Don't miss this incredible night of music and unity.
10:37. Vox in the Box at Tria in St. Paul. It's where the Wild do their skates these days. The Utah Hockey Club will conduct its morning skate at XL Energy Center. And those squads collide this evening at XL Energy Center, 7 o'clock, Faith and Family Night. More on that with Ryan Carter and Bill Butters, who does some ministering with the Minnesota Wild, does some chaplain work with the Minnesota Wild. And for tonight, you can purchase tickets at wild.com/faith or wild.com/fam. And they have ticket deals. There's a pregame celebration that starts at 5:30. That's at the St. Paul River Center. And there's music and worship music by Natalie Conrad of Grace Worship Collective, and inspirational talks from Ryan Carter, former Golden Gopher Jake Taylor, and former North Star Bill Butters, who is the MC of the event tonight. So if you're interested, wild.com/faith or wild.com/fam, and the game begins at 7 o'clock this evening. We break from hockey momentarily. Damn, man, did I miss my Foligno moment right there?
I think you had an opportunity with Moose. He's right there.
See, we got a baby game that's taking place right now by the those of at times of the childish variety, as the Core 4 goes at KFAN. The baby game is knowing Marcus Foligno's from Buffalo.
Yep.
And he absolutely loves the Buffalo Bills.
Remember when we didn't know that? As we had him as a Box in the Box guest.
Yeah, and I took 2 shots at the city of Buffalo and being boring.
I was feverishly trying to tell you he's from Buffalo.
Anchor Bar, worst wings ever. I don't know why people talk about us so much. Oh, by the way, I'm from Buffalo. Oh, that's cool, man. It's hey, when you get a chance to get out of Buffalo and go to Niagara Falls, it's a really cool place to be. But
he handled it well.
So he loves the Buffalo Bills, and I drew up this stupid sign that says "Go Bills."
Yeah.
But I mean, he'll be able to read it from the ice. True. If I could just make eye contact with him, and I can't seem to get beloved Moose to look up here, and I ain't gonna yell Moose. Do you think he'll be able to see this "Go Bills" from the Vox Box, the exclusive perch?
Yes, he'll be able to see it. He's locked in right now on the bench here at Tria as they're doing some drills.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you can catch him, and we gotta keep our eyes on the prize here. We gotta pay attention as they eventually see now Moose is on the ice.
Oh, Moose on ice.
This might be an opportunity.
Yep, Moose.
Okay.
The Moose is on fire. We don't need no Cooley. Let them burn. Hello, my name is Cooley. Gone with that Moose.
No, he's okay. There we go. Is this an opportunity?
Might be an opportunity to make eye contact with the Moose so he can see my dumb sign.
Is there any chance that for the remainder of this segment
he's on the penalty kill?
You can just keep the sign up the entire time.
Look at him just obliterate Hartman from the any opportunity from the right circle. Makes me want to call Wild Games again. Holy cow.
Have they ever dropped the gloves during a morning skate? I'm curious if that's ever happened.
I love that question. Because the answer absolutely has to be yes.
You're right.
I mean, with all the morning skates they've had in the history of morning skates, of course, there have been a couple of teammates who, probably something went wrong in the Boo-Ray game before they headed out to the ice. And it's like, I'm not giving you my house. Well, yeah, you are. Those are the rules. All right, let's drop them and see. I'm going to go Ryan Reeves on you, and you're going to be something called Olivier's chin.
Well, I remember, what was it, the Blackhawks, like 50 Shades of Duncan Keith, like weird stuff going on. Teammates spend a ton of time around each other.
It wasn't Duncan Keith. It was the guy who's on, what's the guy's name? Patrick Sharp. Yeah, it was
Patrick Sharp.
Yeah, it was Patrick Sharp with the square jaw and the high cheekbones and the Jimmy Garoppolo look, if you follow me here. And, it involved girlfriends. And
Andrew Shaw comes rolling by, licking his lips. Everyone's uncomfortable.
Audra Martin and
Jamie Hirsch.
And Jamie Hirsch. That's right. Jeez, crazy, man. But I don't
get your sign up.
I don't.
No, he's back on the bench.
I don't recognize or recall any civil wars taking place during morning skates.
No,
Jake Middleton has his shirt on, which is good. And
it's a tarps on morning skate today.
Tarps on, scarves up, tarps on. It's that kind of a St. Paul Thursday. All right, here's the deal. We're going to pause now so we can properly pay off this Ben Johnson folly, and we will pay it off because Nordo started texting me. He's the
just couldn't help myself.
He's the official, unofficial reporter for 9 to Noon, following the tweet machine a little more closely than yours truly, and we're very thankful that he does because he finds things that I seem to miss, including some folly from new Chicago Bears coach Ben Johnson. We have audio. We have a tweet to reread from Courtney Cronin, and we have some hilarity and laughs to be had when 9 to Noon returns to Tria Rink for Box in the Box on KFAN.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Rock out with Shinedown at the Target Center. Experience an electrifying night of powerful performances and chart-topping hits on the Kid Dance Tour on July 28th with special guests Bush and Morgan Wade. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Get all the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
We have a live wire on our hands, boys, and that live wire would be former Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and current Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson, who has been chatting with the Bears staff, chatting with the assembled media, and let's just say he's a bit of a live wire. Let's go over to the live wire desk, and here's Eric Nordquist.
Yeah, the opening press conference, and you have Caleb Williams there in a trench coat, and he's fist bumping people, a sign of support from the QB and now his head coach. But listening to, I was catching it in clips. I'm not on Bears.com trying to listen to the entire opening presser.
Same.
But one of many clips kind of caught my ears in an interesting way. And so I had Max pull it up, and let's listen to head coach Ben Johnson speaking with the media in his introductory presser.
I know this is the toughest division of football right now. There's 3 teams that made the playoffs this year. I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. Having competed against them for the last 6 years. Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, you're talking about 2 guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
I can't believe he said that. This man is so smart. I mean, he's smart, but sometimes you can have dollars and not have sense. All right, I can't believe that he directed something that way. but he did. Maybe he and Matty LaFleur are really good friends, and it's like, you saw 99 bottles of beer on the wall at the NFL owners' meetings. I don't know. Maybe it's like that. That's awfully cocksure. I mean, that's awfully cocksure. But you are the common thread here is he's making sure he says all the right things every opportunity he gets. It's just sounding different. It's like beloved BJ is finding a microphone, and everything he's saying is acquiescing to the desires or needs of others, or he really means it, or he's unbelievably cocky and doesn't care what other people think, which is fine too. But remember, we shared yesterday that I believe the Chicago Bears released a video of when he walked in their facility, and they deleted a video and put a different one up because when he was talking to the staff, he said, I told you this would be sooner than later. Yeah. Okay, well, now Lions Nation caught wind of that for 5 seconds. They're like, bro, I mean, A, do you really have to say that? I mean, we're still hurting over here. Sure. Secondly, what do you mean? I mean, I told you it would be sooner than later. Did you think that we weren't going to beat Washington? Or, so people are apoplectic now over things he's saying, including what he just said about Matty LaFleur, who caught a stray.
Well, first of all, I will give Ben Johnson credit. They put 30-plus on the Commanders in that game despite the 5 turnovers. Right. I would have people, I would ask that maybe they take a breath on that. But what you said about trying hard to say all the right things, it kind of it had an air of the try part, as in trying too hard. Yeah, and that's what it sounded like to me. I harken back to Ryan Poles. We're going to take the NFC North, and we're never going to give it back. Right. But then he's saying other things like this, and I haven't listened to every introductory presser by every new head coach. Right. Ben Johnson is not unique in this.
Do you have that Cronin tweet that you sent me from yesterday?
That's what I'm going into right here.
Excellent.
Is Cronin posted this from the presser. Here's a quote from new head coach Ben Johnson. Going into this season, I felt like this place was a sleeping giant. And he would continue, I was personally, brace yourself, I was personally more concerned about the Bears than I was any other team in the division. Yeah. The try hard in this guy, and I understand, people lean on every word, people lean on every quote. In some ways, we're probably overanalyzing this, and I'm cool with that.
No, I don't think we are.
I'm having fun with it, but I'm kind of, I don't think I am.
No, you're not.
In the regard that this has some tool time to it. This has some try hard tool time to it.
Saying all the right things.
Correct, and you know what? This is his first opportunity. Stand on that platform, say whatever you want to say, and make the most of this thing. But my goodness, the Bears were the team he feared most. They were a sleeping giant.
How about this?
That's ridiculous.
If I'm a Bears fan, I'm very concerned with what you just read. And what Ben Johnson, he literally said it. Ain't nobody paraphrasing or making anything up. It's like tough division. Vikings and Packers, good squads. But the Bears were the sleeping giant. And honestly, into the season, I worried about them most. Yeah. Okay, here, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm genuinely concerned that his handicapping of the division, and especially the Bears' defense, was so bad, he actually saw it that cloudily. Yeah. I mean, really? Okay, so you love Caleb Williams out of college. You put time into him, even though you knew there was no chance you were ever going to draft him. I mean, you can talk out of both sides of your mouth on that. But to say sleeping giant, I can roll with that too. With DJ Moore and Adunze and Keenan Allen. Okay.
They have weapons, certainly.
Boom.
Yes.
But you're an offensive coordinator. So the first and foremost thing you do is look at the sleeping giant in somebody's defense. Right. And outside of Montez Sweat, you really looked at that and thought that this is going to be the one to beat in the division? Really, your handicapping of something is that bad, beloved BJ? Yeah. If I'm a Bears fan, I'm like, all right, well, he's either stupid or has no foresight to him, or he's just trying to say the right things and win approval. Let's make sure that we say all the right things here, beloved BJ. Shake hands at a Bulls game, run into somebody. MJ for sure was better than LeBron. You waves and hugs at a Blackhawks game, and you're like to the team president or whatever. You're there with Kevin Warren, the Bears team president. Ben's like, I've always liked Connor Bedard more than Nathan McKinnon, you know. 99. Cubs and White Sox are better than the Yankees and Mets. I mean, where is this going to stop, beloved BJ? Are you kidding me? What's the long play here with Ben Johnson? Is there a long play? There has to be one.
Well, when we did the little signed, sealed, delivered montage for the extension on Kevin O'Connell, and as part of that, I had to go dig into the archives of sorts and check out all of the introductory press conference clips that I found from 3 years ago with KO.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear him talking about, well, this was truly the class of the NFC North, and I knew it the whole time that this was a sleeping giant.
You know what you remember from Kevin O'Connell, and I'll never forget it, is him looking at his wife, Leah, and the kids he had at the time. He subsequently is added to the stable.
Yeah.
He turned and looked at them and didn't say, to my family, I'm excited for you guys to watch what happens on this journey. Watch where I and this staff take this team.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a thy or an I. Instead, he went the thy, not I route. He looked at his wife, Leah, and family and said, I can't wait to watch you guys grow in this community and you guys to call this home. And it was touching to me because he could have been like, we just won the Super Bowl. I'm going to do that thing here. Party with the Lombardi. Leah, family, can't wait for you guys to be alongside me. I mean, it's OB. It's opposite Ben. Seriously.
Yeah, so Ben Johnson, we don't need to tear down credentials here. He's one of the elite offensive minds in the NFL, and now he's the head coach of an operation. What does that growth process look for him with so much more on his plate? They could very much be a better team with a high-end second-year quarterback in Caleb Williams and some of those weapons remaining.
Beloved BJ.
All of that has the potential to ring out true, but the way he made it sound as he was walking into a sleeping giant and the class of the North, it was a little bit awful for me just listening to that.
Yeah.
Not offended by it. Just made me laugh yesterday, so I had to share that with you.
That is reality. But you know what else is reality? Swift and Roschon ain't Gibbs and Montgomery.
Correct.
And with the Windy City Moving Company, those guys aren't Decker over DeSulle. I mean, my man has it all figured out, doesn't he? I mean, just listen to that press conference yesterday. So that's why we play the games, and we'll figure out where the old 2025 falls. Back to the hockey conversation next with Ryan Carter and Bill Butters. Forechecking meets family, which meets faith. Tonight at XL Energy Center. More on that around the corner from Box in the Box at Trier Rink on KFAN.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.